To the American Tractor Pullers Association Truck and Tractor Pull. This is the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals coming to you from North Branch, Michigan. Hello, everyone. I'm Claude Wood. We're glad you joined us here on Speed Vision. A quick check of the weather conditions here in North Branch. Day before yesterday, this area received almost 2 inches of rain. Yesterday, we had a little more rain. This morning, another ½ inch of rain fell in this area. Track officials tell me this track will come around. A quick look at the track just before broadcast time. You can see water standing in most areas and a lot of mud, but they tell me this track will be ready. Welcome once again, and you have joined us here on Speed Vision for the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals. This is one of 3 stops of the Jasper Engines Grand America Tour in the state of Michigan. And joining us, as always, is my expert analyst, Tom McConnell.
Last year, this was a wet, cold day here in Michigan. Same here today, Claude.
Exact same conditions as we see Steve Boyd make a run at it.
This is Green Streak 2. He's having problems with it. Now, he is the test puller, so he will be able to go back later in the class and try it again. Not the kind of luck he wanted.
And we did mention right at the head of the show, Tom, about track conditions, and we said this is give or take right now. It may come around, it may not.
Well, the track is a little better than what it was last year. It was awfully moist last year. A lot more drier, to say the least. Kevin Morrell, though, is going to shut down early. Got most of his weight on the rear, so you can tell he's trying to get into the track.
That he did, Tom. 234 feet and 4 inches. Kevin should have a handle on this thing, a local boy out of Michigan, Bad Axe, Michigan, to be exact.
Well, speaking of a local boy, here's a guy very involved with this pull, Jeff Rapp, one of those internationals that runs a lot of RPMs. Check out the noise of this machine. He's just screaming that inline 6-cylinder, Claude.
And he did get some distance out of that. It is a full pull. And, Tom, let's go to the Lucas Oil replay. You can see he starts to drift to the right side of the track.
The track just seems to pull him over, and boom, he's done.
Well, gentlemen, now that you're back into your air-conditioned booths, I got to tell you that the conditions out here are still incredibly bad. 100% humidity, temperature about 90 degrees, but Dan Rapp's last poll showed that the conditions on this track are actually amazingly good. Now, I have to admit, the ATPA Jasper pulling officials actually said that once they turned this dirt upside down, got the dry stuff up from the bottom, the wet stuff underneath, that this track would hook. The pullers themselves say now this could be one of the best tracks of the year. The only problem they have to worry about is tuning the engines for the amazing amount of water that is in the atmosphere with this humidity and heat. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing right now. That's keeping the spectators happy. But the pullers, they've got a mechanic's nightmare on their hands, but amazingly, they've got the track that can take it.
Sure do, Tom, and as we point out again, the heat is sweltering. The humidity is really brutal out there.
One of the things you're seeing at this particular event, you're actually seeing Super Farm tractors enter into the Pro Stock category. Now, they're running small turbochargers, trying to run with the big Feud Pro Stock. As you can tell, they just don't have the speed or the horsepower to run with something like the Bad Apple or some of the tougher gears you're going to see out here earlier.
And this is Rick Binsenger. He has just pulled 239 feet, 8 inches in his tractor called the Springer Toy.
Well, Robert Benino's on the line now. He's driving the Bombs Away tractor. He's out of PD, Kentucky. This tractor used to be owned by a guy by the name of John Hancock, also from the state of Kentucky. Now, Robert is originally from the state of Michigan, so he's kind of back home to play with the boys, but didn't play too long. He's got problems, Claude.
Well, Robert took aim at the track, but only managed to pull out 229 feet. Better luck next time, huh? Old Bonnie is coming up next.
And Old Bonnie, if you remember this right here on Speed Vision last year, he won this event. So he's coming back to defend his title. Can Norm do it? The International has got a good run going. The front ends are up. He's got to get a full pull to be in the money, Claude.
It's going to be close. Is he there?
Yes, indeed, a full pull.
And we remind you this Speed Vision program is brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions, and by Lucas Oil Products, #1 in the trucking industry, and by Liberty Herbicide, freedom from drop injury and weeds. Stay with us. More coming your way on Speed Vision. Back to the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals in North Branch, Michigan. Some of the festivities going by right downtown today, but our business today is truck and tractor pulling. And Tom, here's one of the most popular pullers on the series.
Sonny Snyder and his son Scott have been pulling for many, many years in the Illinois area. Tough internationals. In fact, they finished third at the National Farm Machinery Show this February. You cannot count this binder out. A good run heading down the track. Check out that rollover protection, a huge one. And he's going to come up short of what he was wanting, 291.39.
And you're right, Tom. Boy, he was going straight and very strong. I expected to see a lot more distance out of Sonny on that one.
Well, coming up now is the guy who has won the big one, the National Farm Machinery Show, more than anyone else in the Pro Stock category. This is Don Masterson out of Grandview, Indiana. We've got 2 red ones in the pull-off. Are we going to get a John Deere?
Well, we're moments away from finding that out. Whether Tinker Toy will be there. Is he? He certainly is. It's a full pull for the Tinker Toy. And Tom, let's go to the Lucas Oil replay and see what happened here.
Just another picture-perfect run from the Masterson team. Up in the air, the track's getting a little bit aggressive there, but it's hooking him, and he's out of here.
It is really surprising, Tom, to see just how the condition of this track is not only changing hour by hour, but minute by minute, and it is really coming around.
Oh, no doubt about it. Here's a guy that's not only a puller, he's also a promoter. Ed Clark out of Ida, Michigan, is promoting the event in Monroe, Michigan. He knows this type of dirt in Michigan. Is he also going to go out? It's close.
Close, but no cigar this time. The Red Hot goes 298.6. A very good run, but not quite enough.
Well, every once in a while, you'll see a guy that'll end up just painting his sheet metal black for whatever reason. Didn't come from the factory that way, but Tim Jones and his case sure look good the way it is. Just runs out of power there at the end, Claude.
Runs out of power and a little bit of direction there as once again he's pulled off to the right. And as we go to the Lucas Oil replay, Tom, let's see what happened.
The track was just too good. It was fighting him too hard, and there at the end, he runs out of power.
Brett Kepner down in the pits today. He's found an interesting story for us.
The sport of pulling has its roots in centuries of American tradition. And while the sport has evolved radically in the last several decades, one thing remains the same. His name is Photo Joe. Joe Egley has become the official mascot of the sport of pulling, if only through sheer perseverance. He's one of the best photographers the sport has ever known, but more importantly, he's one of the few that gives media coverage to a sport that up until recently was really not known anywhere outside of rural America. Joe Egley is still at it, and now as the sport grows in leaps and bounds, probably nobody knows better just how much this sport is changing than you, Joe. Now that it's out of rural America, where do you see the sport going?
Well, with American Tractor Pullers and with the websites, I build a website for them and one for myself. I have people writing for my magazines from Germany and from Australia, and tractor pulling is getting big everywhere. Garden tractors and antiques are getting growing the most right now, big time.
That's an important point that you bring up, though, that this has become worldwide.
Oh, yeah. Australia has polls, and Germany has a lot of polls now, and Europe. I have a guy who writes for me in the magazines from Germany.
Because of the bisection of so many different pulling groups in the sport, Photo Joe may be one of the few people who sees the big picture in the sport of pulling. But one thing's for sure, no matter where this sport goes, super stocks may come and four-wheel drives may go, but there will always be Photo Joe.
Thanks, Brett. Well, Tom, there's a moose out on the track. In fact, it's a super moose driven by John Schuler.
Well, this is the first event on the Jasper Engine Pulling Series, and Carl Schuler, all the way from Pennsylvania, is trying so hard to see if he can win a title this year, and he has done something he needed to do, a full pull.
And we'll see him coming up in the pull-offs in just a few minutes.
kind of equals up the score there. 2 John Deeres, 2 Internationals in the pull-off, and now can we get us another John Deere?
Well, he's got a good run going, Tom. Very strong. Is it a full pull? He's close. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He's there. It's a full pull. Stay with us. We'll have the Rampage and more of the 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractors when we come back.
Do you want to know what goes on behind the scenes of today's hottest motorsport?
He's a crybaby.
Just need to step up and quit the
They're
crying.
making excuses for their own performance.
Do you want to see the best and the wildest runs of the 1998 ATPA pulling season? Then call 1-800-698-5699 to get the video set that takes you there. The Pull and Power Pulling 98. Call today and get both videos, a $45 value for only $29.95. Call 1-800-698-5699.
Not a bad seat in the house here at the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals. The location is North Branch, Michigan. And we're very glad you joined us here on Speed Vision. And, Tom, this will bring up Kevin Schmucker driving good old Rampage.
The thing I like about the Rampage is the way that Kevin usually drives this tractor is like one of those unlimited super stock tractors, right up on the wheelie bars. He's running right. This tractor's going to go sky high, and Claude, there's not a single weight on the front end of that tractor. There comes the front end rider, cowboy Kevin Ryder.
And he's off to a good pull, as Tom pointed out. No weights there, and he has pulled off to the right. But is he still on the track, Tom?
He's still on the track. He's past 300. That's a full pull. We're going to get a lot of these guys out here. The sun's coming out. It's dry the track, and the track is hooking, and it is getting good.
And you're taking a good look there at Tom Hallman driving Preparation H. And Tom is a local boy right here from North Branch.
That is correct, and Tom is also involved in the promotion of this event. Tom's taking a wild ride there for a minute. He was bouncing. Can he make a full pull in the hometown? Look at the sled, Claude.
Very close indeed, but he only gets out 285.9 feet. Not quite enough today.
Well, first look at an Alan Chalmers, and you don't see a lot of Alan Chalmers in this class. Most of these engines in the class, the John Deeres and the Internationals, running well over 600 cubic inches. The Alan Chalmers just can't quite get their motors that big, and unfortunately, it shows. Shelly Bryant's going to come up way short, 274.15.
Well, that'll bring up the River Rat now. This is Kevin Masterson out of Grandview, Indiana.
You saw his father, Don, who just pulled a few minutes ago, just made a full bullet fight, giving him some last-minute advice of what to do. Let's see if he listens to the old man and can see if he can take it out of here. The John Deere screaming, Claude. I think he's going to do it. Look at it. It's grabbing him right at the end, shuts him down, but he's past 300. It's a full pull. We're going to have a big pull-off here.
Huge pull-off. Well, that's all he needed to do. That was his goal, to get to the end of the track. And, Tom, I've noticed so far, most of the pullers are choosing to go slightly to the right of the track.
Well, from what I remember on this North Branch track, and Scott Rollins can tell you about that. He pulled in North Branch for many, many years. There seems to be something in the dirt that will pull you over to the right-hand side of the track. And you can see Scott getting on that left-hand brake to avoid the dirt shoving him over to that right-hand side.
It's time now for the Lucas Oil Best Appearing Award, where we choose the most professional and best-looking truck or tractor in competition. Brought to you by Lucas Oil, #1 in the trucking industry. Now, with our Best Appearing for this week, here's Brett Kepner.
This week's Lucas Oil Products Best Appearing Vehicle is a great appearing vehicle. The Enforcer of Willie Omps is also one incredibly tough vehicle. But it's not just paint that makes this vehicle one of the best appearing. You might remember 2 years ago when Willie Omps absolutely decimated one of the toughest fields of four-wheel drive pickup trucks we've ever seen at Bucks County Motorsports Park in Pennsylvania. When Willie won that one, he pretty much proved to the world that this truck was for real. But remember what I said, best appearing does not always mean best paint. Now, this truck is beautiful, but if you look inside, you'll see something that a lot of truck aficionados will say, hey, wait a minute. Does that look familiar? Well, it should, because it's fiberglass. That's right, this is an all-fiberglass Ford pickup. And that General Lee Edwards prepared Boss 429 shotgun engine in there can only haul even faster with this lightweight truck. Now, people don't realize, Willie, that there's a weight restriction in this class. So what's the advantage of building an all-fiberglass truck?
So I can get all my ballast weight up front in this box, because the sled's going to put all the weight that you can handle on the back.
So if you make the truck real light, then you can move weight around to wherever it's going to work best.
To make it movable in the back, I have a box also that I put some weight for different kind of tracks, sleds, and whatnot.
Now, is that pretty much where the weight goes, period, just front or back, or do you actually move it around the chassis sometimes?
No, just front and the back.
How much is actually inside that all-chrome diamond plate box?
1,800 pounds.
1,800 pounds maximum. And you got to load all that in and then take it all out in between poles?
No, sir. It's on a hydraulic cylinder here, and I can flip these two switches here, and I can run it in or out, so I don't have to take the weights off.
No kidding. It's a lazy man's weight box.
It's getting to be that way.
By the way, how big is this year's Lee Edwards motor?
650.
Yeah, sure it is. He'll never, ever, ever tell you how big that engine is, but it doesn't matter right now because we're talking about Lucas Oil Products' best appearing vehicle. Just remember, the appearance is sometimes a little hidden.
Thanks, Brett. We'll see Willie Omps and the rest of the four-wheel drive trucks coming up later on. But right now, it's back to the 10,000-pound Pro Stock tractors.
Mike Sarver and son Bobby have been pulling this tractor for many, many years, and I think they do. Another father and son team in the pull-off. You got the Mastersons, now you got the Sarvers.
Well, Tom, you mentioned it. You have the key of the experience of many years, or maybe it's that father-son thing. It's worked so far.
So far, it's worked, and that's what matters. One of the strongest tractors ever in the history of the sport. Quite possibly one of the strongest internationals in the history of the Pro Stock class. Gary Brinkmeyer, foolish pleasure, do not count him out, and having trouble at the end of the run, Claude.
And too bad, Tom, we do have to count him out on this one. 294 feet, way short.
Well, that's an experimental motor. He'll be back. Brian Smith is now on the line. He's doing the driving of the Sam Hill binder. Now, usually Tim Overmeyer's doing the driving. Brian's taking over the chores this weekend, and he's having a ball doing it. Will he get a full pull? Look at that right at the end. The tire passed the full pull line. Once the tire passes it, you're not DQ'd. But he didn't get the sled out. 295 and change.
And that will bring up another John Deere. This will be the Buck Eater, driven by Mickey Shorter.
Mickey hasn't been on this team very long, just bought the tractor, but the Buck Eater's been around for a long, long time, and Mickey just made a full pull. You hear the thumb sled hit the horn. That indicates another one in the pull-off range, Claude.
Well, chalk another one up, Tom. This is going to be a heck of a pull-off.
No doubt about it. Steve Wishmeyer's going to try to do that. Just got word here from the pit, Claude. The boys' green streak number 2 will not be back. So this is the last puller in the first go-round. And it looks like Steve Wishmeyer so close, 299.17.
Well, that's the way it shapes up. Don't go away. Stay with us. It's pull-off time in Michigan. Well, I guess you would call it 1 horsepower as you take a look at one of Michigan's finest. Enjoying some of the festivities today at the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals in North Branch, Michigan, and we're glad you have joined us. This, ladies and gentlemen, is the pull-off.
And in the pull-off, we have got a handful of internationals, a lot of John Deere's. This is one of the toughest internationals, so just listen to the RPMs out of this 6-cylinder, Claude.
And this is Jeff Rapp.
Jeff will set the mark to beat in the pull-off, and here's what to beat, 294.48.
And as we take a look at Norm Wayner driving O'Bonney, getting all set to do business, let's go down to Brett Kepner.
Now, in normal circumstances, you'd have never made it that far in a pull-off, and this thing came around, I think, better than anybody thought in the early rounds, but you were one of the first people out there first time. What changed?
Well, the track is getting a little better. I didn't expect that many tractors to be out, and the track's coming around to be a perfect track now, and it happened to suck a lot of people to the right, but,
yeah,
you know.
It seems to be a real problem, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, it's a problem, but I just tried to do the best I could, you know.
Well, Tom, do the best you could. That's about all you can ask of anyone. Well, here comes Norm Wayner.
Let's see if Norm can have some of that magic and win the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals 2 years in a row. He's starting to bounce now. Jeff just mentioned that right-hand side of the track. Look at Norm get on the brakes and stay away from that side.
Stay away. He kept right down the middle.
270.01 the distance for Norm Wayner. On the line now, we have our first look at a John Deere in the pull-off. The green fans have got something to cheer about. Mickey Shorter getting all over the track, but he's got a lot of ground feet, Claude.
Well, a little here, a little there, but he is making some progress.
Progress indeed. We've got a new leader, 297.44 as we check it out on the Lucas Oil replay. That was an awesome run.
An awesome run indeed. Well, let's find out more about that run as we go down once again to Brett Kepner.
All right, now let's hear the Buck Eater secret. Did the missus actually kill the wheel speed on this thing and make it hook up?
Yes, she did.
Sometimes those things happen.
Yeah, I'm very lucky. I just bought this tractor at the Farm Machinery Show.
Oh, no kidding.
This is the first year out with it, so I'm tickled to death.
Well, he should be, Tom. Well, let's hook him up once again. This will be Don Masterson out of Grandview, Indiana.
Never count the Tinker toy out, but I'll tell you what, Mickey Shorter made almost what you would call a perfect run. Don, though, way up in the air, and look, the first time Don went out, Claude, he had weights all on the back. Now he's got them all on the nose. The track has really changed.
And something unusual, Tom, that is the first time this evening I have seen one tractor that has been taken to the left.
No, that's exactly right. Most of the time it just draws them into the right. Not for the case of Don Masters. And Carl Schuler on the line now doing his thing. Can the Super Moose take over the lead? No, 288.12. The John Deere's, though, still up in the lead. We check out the Boyd's family. These are the guys. You heard Mickey Shorter talk about the National Farm Machinery Show. This is the guy that won it this past February.
And, Tom, he calls it the green streak. He hopes indeed this will be a streak. What do you think? He's very close to a full pull.
Claude, we just got the word from the official. You see the official's left hand going out. He was disqualified. He touched that left boundary line, and that is a DQ. No distance. Got to be disappointing for the Boyd team.
Oh, yeah, obviously.
Well, Kevin Smucker's doing his thing. The John Deere's getting up in the air a little bit wild.
He is, Tom, as he goes a little bit from left to right, and that will net him 295 feet and 3 inches. And that will not get the job done. That will bring up Kevin Masterson.
When you saw his father, Don, pull earlier, Don had a lot of weight on the front end and still couldn't keep the Tinker toy down. The River Rat making a good pass. Will he take over the lead? Not tonight, 284.55. But it looks like an all John Deere show from this point on. The green fans have got to be happy.
And, Tom, we've seen a lot of John Deere fans in the audience, and they have made their presence known.
Mike Sarver gets wild on that check. The tractor's bouncing all over the track. Going to come way short, 276.85.
And let's go down to Brett Kepner with our winner.
Now, you honestly going to tell me it was a mechanical malfunction that won that pole for you?
It was luck. It's all it was, luck.
You have to be amazed at how many different problems were experienced by everybody in that pull-off.
I know it. Beginner's luck is all it is.
I don't know. I mean, that tractor made it out the first time, and just to get in that group was tough.
I had a lot of good teachers. There they all went.
And congratulations to Mickey Shorter, a winner in his rookie year. We're glad to see that. Stay with us. Hey, you like those 4x4s? You're in luck. Guess what? They're coming up next. Deep in the heart of farm country in North Branch, Michigan, you dialed in the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals as part of the ATPA Truck and Tractor Pulling Series. And you're looking right inside the office of Charlie Dutton in his Child's Play. Charlie is out of Binsenger, Indiana.
Charlie is one of the toughest pullers in this sport. Two-time winner in the modified category of the National Farm Machinery Show. He is on a killer winning spree. I wouldn't count this guy out by any means. He will set the mark to beat. The Chevy fans are screaming.
And so is his truck there, Tom, as he has a great run going. Not quite far enough. 297 feet for Charlie Dutton.
Well, you often often hear of Fords running awfully big motors. This is not the case. Now, this guy's actually only running 650 cubic inches. This is Dwayne Creedon, 650 cubic inches, and that's not even considered big. Now, that's pretty interesting, isn't it, Clark?
Well, right. It sounds pretty loud, though, and he comes up pretty much short there at only 278 feet.
Well, there's another Ford, Jason Jacks, who incidentally did not pre-commit to run for the Jasper ATPA Grand American Points. He will receive no points here, and if he had been running for points, he would be in the heat of the battle. This truck has been running awfully good this year.
And Tom, check out the graphics on the side of this truck. What a great paint scheme.
Oh, no doubt about it. Of course, this truck looks familiar. It was formerly owned by Ronald Baker. It used to be called Insane last year. Now it's the Wild Child. The Wild Child pulls 294.68.
Well, one of the Klim boys coming out now. This is Mike driving the Renegade.
Now, this truck, of course, is usually driven by Galen Young. Galen could not be here, so he's got a neighbor, Mike Klim, doing the driving. And he's doing awfully good. He just made a full pull, Claude.
And one of the toughest and strongest drivers on the entire series, and he proves it right there. Tom, as we go to the Lucas Oil replay.
You can see just what you're talking about. A picture-perfect run. Mike Klim takes it like he's going back to Versailles, Kentucky or something.
Yeah, let's take it right now down to Brett Kepner.
With that much wheel speed, I don't think even you thought this thing was going out the other end unless you knew something about the top end of this track that nobody else does.
It was going out. Did he get all the way out?
Heck yeah, it was all the way out.
All right. I didn't realize where I was at.
No, I'm serious. The starting line, apparently, you overpowered it quickly, but was that the game plan?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, get on it and get out of it.
Well, that's a game plan that has worked many times for Galen Young. In fact, if you remember last year up in Gaithersburg, Maryland, a really loose track, Galen put it in high gear and just spun the tires and literally got on top of the soil.
Well, here comes Scott Phillips in Yankee Blue. Scott is out of Marlotto, Michigan. And Tom, a minute ago, we had a lot of father and son relationships there. The brothers, we will see later in the show if the brothers come on just as strong.
Oh, exactly. And remember something else we saw from the first class. Mickey Shorter's a rookie. This guy, too, is a rookie, and he is close. Is he out? No, 295.61, but a great run there. Scott Phillips.
Heck of a run there, Tom, especially for a rookie season. What a great feeling that has to be.
Oh, no doubt about it. First look at a Mopar. In fact, the only Mopar in the class. So Dodge fans, you got to pin all your hopes on Dale Bryant with the someday. Is today the day, Claude?
It could be. He's got a chance just like everybody else. Is it enough? Not quite today. 280 feet, 9 inches. What a good pull.
Oh, no doubt about that.
Stay with us. We'll be back. It's definitely a family affair at the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals. At the ATPA Truck and Tractor Pulls, truck and tractor pulling, one of the fastest growing and most popular sports in the entire country. And you have seen some of the reasons why.
Jeff Smith is on the line now. He's just down the road from Holland, Michigan with the lean meat machine. Guy that knows this kind of stuff. Ran pretty good up here last year, but I know he has really done a lot of work on this truck over the winter. I've got my eyes on this one, Claude.
And he not only sounds very strong, Tom, as the RPMs definitely went up. It is a full pull for Jeff Smith.
Of course, that means we've got us a pull-off now. 2 Chevrolets out the back door. Will it be 3? Aaron Mobley is going to try to even up the score out of Harrisburg, Kentucky.
Well, we'll see what happens here. I'm sure the old mad dog has a plan of eating up the old meat machine.
No doubt about it. Aaron's really screaming the engine. Listen to the RPMs out of these things, Claude.
He is really winding it. Looks like he's going to be a little bit short, though. Only 297 feet. Not going to do it.
Jim Hallman is the defending champion here in North Branch, Michigan at the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals. So he obviously kind of has, something to shoot for here, Claude.
He sure does. And I'm sure he will do everything within his power to protect that lead that he has. Let's see if he can repeat.
Now, if he's going to be in the hunt, he's got to get a full pull to get in there to do it. Not going to do it this time. 296.32 for Jim Hallman.
Let's go down to Brett Kepner.
For the incredible number of four-wheel drive modified trucks that enter any ATPA Jasper Series event, you got to figure it's one of the largest and most competitive classes there is in the sport of pulling. Now, this red truck may not look familiar. It used to say sudden impact all the way down the side, still has the bullet holes. But as the Webb family moves this into its own business venture, this lady, the two-time ATPA four-wheel drive pulling champ, Donna Webb, has got to also be looking at things a little bit different in '99. And I should point out, probably the biggest difference is that you're not looking back on a world championship last year.
True. We've dropped out last year.
Was there any specific problem that came up?
No, we were trying to build this new motor, and business got in the way and stuff, so we just had to drop out. We were in second place when we dropped out. But
it's tough juggling normal life, as they say, with this sport because it is so demanding of one's time.
True, that's very true.
How many events last year?
I believe there was 20 last year.
Just in this series, and you have a habit of bouncing around wherever you think money is to be made.
True.
All right, what's different about the truck this year outside of the engine itself?
Basically, the name and the newer motor, and basically that's really all the difference that there is, plus the fact that we've dropped out of working and everything. We're only going to be pulling this summer.
Oh, so there is no more conflict.
There is no more conflict this year.
That could be some of the worst news for the rest of this class. They've had all season.
They've had all season, and we'll just be going from place to place, and it might be a little bit harder for them having to work and compete in this year's series because there's, I think, 27 or 29 hooks this year.
Now, at the very end of last season, before you disappeared, as you say, you were talking about building a motor specifically for the tracks that you couldn't predict. In other words, going to new facilities, situations like what we have here where the weather and everything is just totally against you.
That's true, and we're hoping this one will suit that purpose.
Was it developed with that in mind?
Basically, yes. The drivability of it is quite a little bit different.
Has the class stepped up as much as people might think since you didn't win the World Championship last year, or was it pretty much even?
No, there's a lot of tough competitors out here this year. The competition's really stiff.
Well, after 2 World Championships, Donna Webb may have some ground to make up. But she remains one of the single most popular drivers in the ATPA Jasper Series. And with the new power behind this truck, this old red F-150 could still be the king of the hill.
You know, Tom, that is about as much dedication as I've ever seen anyone put into anything, to take a whole year to prepare and give up just about everything else.
Well, basically, they are full-time pullers, as they were saying. They're pros at it now. I think as the sport grows, you're going to see more and more competitors doing it. Here's a guy that would love to do it. Don Grant out of Greenwood, Indiana, the rags to riches. Full-time ATPA pulling. Well, not yet, but he made a good run there, 285.19.
And here comes another. You mentioned real professional. Here comes another one. This is Steve Klim driving the Radical.
Remember, his brother, Mike Klim, made the pull-off earlier, driving Galen Young's Renegade. So are we going to have 2 Klim boys in the pull-off? Well, we're going to find out here right now.
That would be an ideal situation to see brother against brother. Who do the parents root for?
I guess whoever brings home the bigger check, I don't know. We're going to get to see that now, though. The Radical just made a full pull as we check it out. The Lucas Oil replay. Picture perfect. A little bit there to the right-hand side. That gave the Pro Stock some trouble, but no trouble.
Ladies and gentlemen, that wasn't skill. That wasn't mechanical expertise. That was pure adrenaline because you wanted to pull off with your brother more than anything in the world.
Well, I tell you what, I told him just a few minutes ago, I said, Mike, I think you got me. I said, but I'm gonna go give it a try.
I've never heard you admit defeat before a pull before in my life.
Well, I tell you what, it's easy to get beat, and when you get beat, you take it like a man and go for the next one.
But even so, after all your championships and major event wins, to let him come out here and do this to you his second time out, you couldn't let it happen.
Well, I've got to remember, too, he's an awful good truck. Renegade, he's a bad boy.
Yeah. Plus, he's a good teacher.
You better believe it.
And what a nice family, too, Tom. As we were walking around in the pits earlier today, I was talking to both the Klim boys, and just very accommodating and just all around great guys.
Oh, no doubt about it. Jeff Schaefer now, the win-loser draw out of Mount Vernon, Ohio. Check out this paint scheme. It's that new General Motors paint scheme, and it changes color depending upon the light. So it started out brown, now it's purple.
Who knows what it's going to be today, Tom, with all the cloud cover and everything we've had. Well, more 4x4 action coming your way right here on Speed Vision. Some of the younger members of our audience getting their hearing protection all in order and ready to go. You've joined us for the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals here in North Branch, Michigan. Glad to have you along here on Speed Vision. And Tom, this will bring up an old pack rat.
I wouldn't exactly call it a pack rat in the negative sense. This is one tough rat to say the least. Mike Clark, big-time ITPA puller for many, many years, switched over to the ATPA Jasper Grand American Series, and he is definitely in the point hunt. Going to come up short here today, but a very good run, 295.66.
And that, Tom, will bring up Donna Webb. You heard Brett talk to her a few minutes ago about all the dedication and the sacrifices she's made for the sport. Let's see today if that has paid off.
Well, we've said it before. We'll say it again. This is one of the toughest ladies ever to get inside of a four-wheel drive truck. She knows that she's got to get in the pull-off if she wants to keep the current Jasper engine points lead. And Claude, she's headed to doing just that, riding that right-hand side of the track. The Pro Stocks had trouble with it. The four-wheel drives, though, got a little more control, and Donna has just made a full pull.
And she ran straight and true as the audience shows their appreciation. Let's go to Brett.
I got to tell you, you are always good for innovation. Nobody wanted the right-hand side. You took it, and that motor was buzzing higher than I've ever heard it down here.
We're good for changing places and, you know, bringing little surprises and stuff in, but nobody seemed to be going on, very far on the other side, so what you got to lose?
That's right. You can only try it. Now, I'm interested. How high was the RPM count on that?
It's only 7,200.
Well, it sounded like about 8,200.
Well, let's see now, Claude, if many other competitors head towards that right-hand side, since Donna has kind of shown them the way. Let's see what Brad Hunter's got up his sleeve now.
And we've seen that many times in the past, Tom. When you see some success in one particular part of the track, others tend to follow suit.
Claude, he went on the right-hand side. He got a good run, but not a full pull, 294.61.
Well, it didn't quite work for him. That will bring up James Bosch.
James was the runner-up here in the Wolverine Lucas Oil Nationals last year. I like the chassis and the body setup on this truck. It's just a neat-looking, kind of stock-appearing-looking truck, but boy, anything but stock underneath.
Yeah, you mentioned a few minutes ago that there are not many trucks here that are painted black, and I kind of like that.
Oh, definitely. Well, the paint job didn't get the job done. He looks behind, didn't like what he saw, 294.97.
Well, we'll see if the Red Ripper can rip up the track a little bit. This is Roland Shaw out of Kingston, Michigan.
Now, Roland, look at him rolling on that right-hand side of the track. Very easy coming out of the hole, running an engine combination similar to Donna Webb. I think he killed himself in the hole. Just not enough speed to get the job done.
And, Tom, you mentioned him pulling to the right. He couldn't have been more than 2 feet from that white stripe over there.
And, of course, if you touch that white stripe, it's the big DQ, and that's not something anyone wants. Alan Steed, the lost in the 50s, has yet to win an event this year. The last time he won one was back in Brandenburg, Kentucky. This is a guy that you better watch because he's been winless for a while.
He has, and he's changed his whole paint scheme for this year. I don't know if that'll make much of a difference or not. Evidently not at only 285 feet. And stay with us. Don't you go anywhere. A lot more action coming your way right here on Speed Vision. As you can see from the stands, a tremendous turnout here in North Branch, Michigan for the Lucas Oil Wolverine Nationals. And Tom, who would have thought that after the rain that we mentioned at the top of the show from yesterday and even this morning and threatening skies up until pull-off time?
Well, they had a record crowd here last year, a record crowd here again this year. The people in Michigan just love this stuff. Dave Glosser just down the road from Central Indiana with the Zip Express-sponsored Chevrolet. Gets over in the right-hand side, and boom, he's done early.
And done early indeed. Fear Me is what Tom Kermolian puts on the back of his black truck.
This truck was formerly owned by ATPA's Vice President Mike Chastain. was a world champion back in 1994, but not going to do anything in North Branch as Tom is having problems bouncing at Spelldown, coming up way short.
You know, Tom, it really looked like in the center of the track where all the bouncing started that there were bumps in the track. That can't be, though. They've been cleaning the track.
I'm not exactly sure what happened to Tom Samoan. I just know he started to bounce, kind of what the enforcer's doing there a little bit, but it looks like Willie's got it a little more under control.
And Tom, as we take a look at Willie Aunts go down the track, it's easy to see why he was best appearing.
No doubt about it. He could have gone down as best engineered as he just made a full pull. So we've got 2 Fords in the pull-off, 2 Chevrolets. Will there be another? We're going to find out here. Rob Foster, very, very tough competitor. The Simply Red, not going to be able to make all the Jasper ATPA Grand American events this year, but in 2000, he is planning on it.
And he's mostly in the Northern Circuit out of Fairgrove, Michigan. And Tom, it is a full pull for Rob Foster. And it's time now for the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Award, where the ATPA officials choose the vehicle that is technically outstanding. Brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. Now, here's Brett Kepner.
Well, gentlemen, back there in the pits are an awful lot of qualifiers for this pull-off in the four-wheel drive 6,200-pound pickup truck class, but you have to admit, even with Donna Webb and Willie Ops and all the other killers back there, these two are the story of this event. Hey, anytime brothers get in a pull-off, it's one thing, but when one brother gets in with 2 rides down the track, that's another. And I got to tell you that you have just been awarded the Jasper Racing Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Vehicle of the Event Award, which, by the way, is an award that doesn't have much to do with the driver. Obviously. Now, you have to remember, Steve himself said that's a great truck that he's in.
It is. It's a great truck.
Now, how much of your effort at this event has been the truck, and how much has been you?
Probably 95.5.
Well, I didn't expect you to be quite that modest, but you have to admit, jumping into a truck this competitive is it's a pretty simple deal for most people.
Yeah, well, not simple. I mean,
that's half the battle won.
Oh, yeah.
Now, what makes this truck as strong as it has been for Galen Young?
Galen's got that secret tied up.
He didn't tell you that. He just told you where the pedals were.
Yeah.
All right, now, since you're going to be pulling first ahead of Steve, where are you going to line up?
That's a secret, too.
I figured as much. I just wanted to see if you were smart enough to keep that to yourself. Now, this one goes to you. Wherever he lines up, if he does good, you're going to follow him.
No, I have to drive somewhere different. I never follow him.
So no matter what he does, he can take it 500 yards away from here. You're going to line up somewhere else, prove to him you can do it on the other side.
I'm going to do it different.
You got to be proud of your brother, though.
Oh, he done a great job. He pulled my truck a couple times when I wasn't able to go to a pull. And to be his first time in this truck, I think he done a wonderful job. Drove great.
And you, on the other hand, I could tell just by the look on your face down there after that pull, you couldn't believe it.
Yeah, it was a blast. I'm telling you, it's something I'd never experienced, like, you know, the power and the speed.
Absolutely the speed, especially the wheel speed. Okay, gentlemen, it's set. We've got everything a good pull-off should have. Ford versus Chevy, male versus female, and brother versus brother.
Right you are, and thanks, Brett. You know, Tom, I think these guys are trying to fool us a little bit with their nonchalant attitude. But, you know, I have the idea when they're behind the wheel of that truck, it's altogether different.
Oh, yeah. You've got to know they got to be thinking of bragging rights. I mean, at the next family reunion, they got to be able to say, hey, little brother, I beat you, or big brother, I beat you, however it is. Kilbennington's doing his thing now. The busted loose Ford going to come up short, 291.87.
And Tom, we'll take a closer look right here as we get the sled all hooked up to Patrick Paul. Now, Patrick is driving the Troublesome out of Waleska, Georgia.
Pat Paul's motor has just been dynoed. In fact, they just got it together at the Tommy Kamolian shop, the guy that drives Spellbound. Now, he built about 12 of these guys' engines. Pat Paul's one of them, making some new changes inside the Ford. Is it going to show up today? Still going to be a little short at 287.99.
A little bit short indeed. Well, here comes Junior Brown driving the Bad Addiction. I always try to figure the names out, Tom. What is he addicted to? I think it may be pulling.
Oh, no doubt about that.
And Tom, we'll see how well Junior does here with the Bad Addiction. 283 feet, a little bit short. Well, we've had lots of action so far on Speed Vision with truck and tractor pulling as we see Donna Webb getting set to do business, and she will be coming up in just a moment. And you say pull-off, and that's where we are right now. Tom McConnell in the 4x4 trucks.
Well, as Brett Kepner said earlier, it is a great pull-off. We've got Chevy versus Ford, male versus female, and brother versus brother. Here is the Chevy, and it's also brother versus brother. The Galen Young truck, the Renegade, will set the pace, 2:99.09. Mike Klim doing the driving.
And right now, that'll bring up Jeff Smith, but after Jeff will be his brother Steve, and we will anxiously await Steve's outcome. But right now, the business at hand is Jeff Smith.
The lean meat machine has really made some improvements. He is a tough truck this year. Going to come up short, though, 291.33. Mike Klim in the Renegade truck still in the lead.
Well, Tom, it's showdown time here at the Family Feud. This is Steve Klim versus his brother Mike. Brother Mike had 299.09. What will Steve do?
Steve is really in high in the Jasper ATPA points, but remember, the Renegade was the defending Jasper points champion last year, so it's going to be real interesting. Looks like brother Mike will at least take the bragging rights home and currently keeps the lead. 299.09 for Mike Klim, 295.63 for Steve Klim. We've seen brother versus brother. Now it's male versus female, and she's also in a Ford. Donna Webb. Can she take the lead, Claude?
This thing is running awesome, Tom. Donna Webb has a great pull.
3:05.01. It's a float finish line. Take it as far as you can. The crowd loves Donna.
And once again, here is Willie Omps, our best appearing. And he has a great shot at this also, Tom. Nobody is really ruled out in the pull-off.
Well, now, Willie runs the ATPA Jasper East Coast Series more than he does the Grand American. Currently fourth in the points out east. Makes a good run out here with the guys in Michigan, 291.57.
Well, Tom, that'll bring up Rob Foster. Rob is last in the class. It's Ford's in the lead. The mark to beat, 3:05.01.
Listen to those incredible RPMs out of the Simply Red machine. He is trying to beat the Ford. It's too close to call. The distance says that he is short, 3:02.67.
Brett, how close?
3 feet.
All right. Hey, if it's 3 inches, I'd take it.
You got to be proud of this one. I mean, this is a weird situation. Horrible track conditions, horrible atmospheric conditions. It was a rough one.
Yes, it was, but it was all worth it.
Hey, it always is every time you go out there and clean house like that. Amazing job.
Well, let's take a look at our top 5 winners resulting from the pull-off tonight. As was said earlier, it was brother against brother, male against female. And number 1, Donna Webb, separated only by 3 feet from number 2, Rob Foster. Coming up in third, it was Mike Klim, Steve Klim in fourth, and finally Willie Omps in 5th place. Now, Tom, let's take a look at the point standings for this year.
This weekend was very good to Donna Webb, who has over a 20-point lead over the child's play of Charlie Dutton. Charlie didn't make the pull-off. Donna did just what she needed to do. She won the event. How much more perfect can it be? As we check out the current point standings of the Jasper Pulling Series in the Pro Stock Tractor, Carl Schuler has a slight lead over a tie between the one bad apple of Jeff Rapp and the River Rat. It is going to be tight in the Pro Stock.
And what a year it's going to be. What an evening this has been. Thanks for joining us, everyone.